This will bring genocide. It will. This must stop.
This will bring genocide. It will. This must stop.
The idea of northern Uganda becoming a separate or independent country is highly complex and politically sensitive matter. Many people talked about it, both Mego Dongata and Nobad Mao and many other people, Better All, Timanywa and the rest, and you know where they are right now. Any move towards separation or secession would involve legal, constitutional, political, and even international dimensions. Below are the theoretical procedures, not necessarily legal in Uganda's current system, that would be involved if northern Uganda were to attempt to become an independent country. The first one is internal mobilization and consensus building. Awareness and unity. Build broad-based unity among the people of northern Uganda, that is Acoli, Lao, West Nile, Karamoja, and so on. Political movement is the first thing, and this establish a well-organized political or civil movement that articulates the reasons and vision for independence. This could be an example of the one which was blocked by the government, started by Dongata, that is RPP, Republic Party. Cultural and religious leaders gain support from traditional institutions like Kekwa Acoli, Alu Kingdom, Lao Cultural Foundation, and religious leaders. Another thing is documented grievances. Publish white papers, manifestos, or declarations outlining the historical, economic, and political reasons for seeking independence. And then the second thing to do is legal and constitutional challenges. We must remember that Uganda's 1995 constitution does not provide any legal pathway for a region to secede. So, constitutional amendment is key. This would require Parliament, that you must remember, should be with a 2/3 majority to amend the constitution to allow secession. Highly unlikely unless national politics drastically shift. Constitutional court petition is one other thing that you must remember. Attempt to challenge the legal framework around self-determination, though Uganda's courts tend to favor national unity. The third thing is non-violent political pressure. Referendum campaign, push for a regional referendum through petition, civil protest, or parliamentary representatives. A regional parliament or assembly that would establish local governance structures like a provisional assembly for northern Uganda to function as a political symbol. International advocacy. Appeal to international bodies such as the African Union, United Nations, European Union, ICJ for recognition of the right to self-determination based on historical marginalization or oppression. The fourth thing is declaration of independence, whether it is symbolic or actual. If enough momentum is gathered, leaders might declare symbolic independence, like Biafra in Nigeria, Catalonia in Spain, which is supported by Pep Guardiola, or push for unilateral declaration of independence, that is UDI, like South Sudan did after long-term conflict. This would be illegal under Ugandan law, but would send a strong political signal, possibly triggering negotiations or confrontation, by the way. The fifth thing is securing international recognition. Independence becomes real only if recognized by other countries. Engage regional blocs such as East African Community, IGAD, African Union, and world powers for recognition. Establish diplomatic missions, issue documents, that is passports, currency, etc., and seek observer status at the UN. The sixth thing is you must remember the risk and the consequences. There could be military crackdown. Uganda would likely respond with military force. So the UPDF would be coming to whoop our heads, guys. Sanctions and isolation, risk of economic blockage and sanctions, internal conflict. Not all ethnic groups in the north may agree, and this could lead to civil strike. Regional instability could trigger similar demands in Karamoja, Buganda, or Rwenzururu. The seventh thing is alternative path. Federalism or autonomy, if independence is not feasible. An alternative could be federal system. Advocate for restructuring Uganda into a federal republic where northern Uganda has its own autonomy and the rest. Buganda tried this, Udongato tried this, Ugayamurizatugu tried this, but nobody gave attention. Resource control and self-governance. Control over land, culture, language, and economic policy without full secession. Historical precedents to study that you must remember include South Sudan, who broke away from the Sudan in 2011 after decades of civil war. Eritrea seceded from Ethiopia through war and referendum. War is very bad. Biafra of Nigeria attempted secession but failed in 1970. And Catalonia, who are in Spain, declared independence and still active but not recognized. Pep Guardiola, who supports this breakaway and is a citizen of Catalonia, is an example of the leading advocates for an example of breakaway. I'll try to be a little faster on this one. So, how difficult can this get? The 1995 Constitution of Uganda does not provide any clear legal provision for a breakaway or secession of any part of the country. Regarding federalism, the Constitution allows for decentralization, but not a true federal system, as many Ugandans, especially from Buganda and northern Uganda, have ever demanded. So now here is the breakdown. The first thing that you need to know is breakaway or succession. No provision exists in the Constitution for any region, district, or community to break away or become an independent country. Uganda is defined as one sovereign and indivisible state. Under Article 144, the people shall express their will and consent on who shall govern them and how they should be governed through regular, free and fair elections of their representatives or through referenda. Article 3.4 says any person who by any unlawful means removes or attempts to remove the government shall be guilty of treason. Implication: any attempt at succession, even if peaceful, is considered unconstitutional and punishable by a treason. Now, the second thing that you need to know is, if we look at federalism, the 1995 Constitution rejected federalism but introduced a form of decentralization. And here is what it allows. It allows decentralization. Article 176 of 2B says decentralization shall be a principle applying to all levels of local government, and in particular from higher to lower levels, to ensure people's participation and democratic control in decision making. That's why we should start creating some district service commission. Districts and sub-counties have local governments, but with limited autonomy. Local governments depend on the central government for resources and major decisions. No real federal system. The federal system demanded by some regions, such as Buganda, which pushed for federal, was not granted, by the way. The Constitution allows traditional institutions like Acoli, Buganda Kingdom, Bunyor Kingdom, and Article 246, but they have no political power. In summary, the Constitution allowed not succession, breakaway, no considered treason. It is now considered treason, but federalism is allowed. So this is a very complex matter, and it is not all that very easy to even start thinking about. But yet Uganda is totally a very divided country. That's a fact. So what I think in conclusion is Uganda's constitution blocks both secession and federalism in legal terms. Only decentralized local government is allowed. Any push for federalism or independence would require a constitutional amendment which needs 2/3 of the parliament, or popular pressure and political negotiations. Now, it even gets more difficult. So, how many members of parliament come from Western Uganda, which is very small, versus the rest of Uganda? As of the 11th Parliament of Uganda 2021-2026, the total number of members of Parliament, or MPs, is 529. These MPs come from various regions of the country: Western, Central, Eastern and Northern Uganda. Estimated regional distribution of MPs from in this parliament is Western Uganda have 145 MPs, Central Uganda have 140, Eastern Uganda has 135, and then Northern Uganda is 109. You must remember that the exact number varies slightly depending on how regions are classified and any newly created constituents or special interest groups, example youth, army, disabled representatives. Why does the NRM caucus make parliament powerless? The NRM caucus, compromise of MPs belonging to the ruling National Resistance Movement Party, is powerful for several reasons, and critics say it undermines the independence of parliament for this key reason. The first one is predetermined decisions behind closed doors. Major decisions are often made in the NRM caucus meetings before reaching the main parliament. The second thing is, by the time issues reach the floor of the parliament, NRM MPs vote along party lines, making it relevant. The number two is majority domination. NRM holds the majority in parliament, about 340 MPs out of the 529, meaning they can easily pass the law, which makes it very difficult. Then number three is state influence and control. The caucus is sometimes reportedly influenced by the State House, and President Museveni chairs many of its key meetings. This central control blurs the separation of powers between the executive and the legislators. The fourth thing is suppressing dissent. MPs who go against caucus positions may face consequences such as loss of committee positions, intimidation, or being labeled as rebel MPs. The fifth thing is rubber stamp accusation. The result is that Parliament often rubber stamps executive decisions rather than acting independently or representing diverse public interests. In summary, region estimated MPs Western Uganda have a slightly higher number than the rest of the country, and NRM has the highest number of members of parliament. Now, this even makes starting a referendum or to amend a constitution of thinking about breakaway more and more difficult. All this we are talking about because a lady from Balaalo talked about genocide against Northern Uganda. But then, also after a long period of suffering, several leaders of Northern Uganda have talked about this. Thank you.